So you're ready to join the big leagues and start scaling your lawn care, landscaping, or outdoor living business using effective online advertising. Well, smart choice, my friend. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the 5 different hurdles that you may face upon your journey. I'm going to show you the solutions to each one of them so that you can successfully grow your lawn care, landscaping, or outdoor living business using effective online advertising. What's going on, guys? This is Matt Thibeau here with Savant Marketing Agency. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down the 5 different hurdles that most landscapers encounter when they're trying to take things to another level in their business using effective online marketing. If you haven't thought about using online advertising to really start scaling up your business, odds are is that you're still relying mostly on referrals or other more organic strategies, and that's fine. But once you start looking to get enough growth in your business, maybe you want to add a satellite location or franchise, maybe you want to start hiring salespeople, what you're going to find is that you're going to need a lot more leads to start getting that type of growth. And the only way basically to do that is by using effective advertising. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. And like I said, I'm going to break down these 5 different hurdles that most landscapers will encounter across their path. Once you start spending at least $5,000 a month in ad spend on Facebook or Google, anything beyond that, and you're going to find that you're going to run into some of these hurdles. And it's really important that we squash those hurdles if you're looking to actually scale, because otherwise you're going to start encountering diminishing returns. You're going to have to adjust your systems to keep up with that type of ad spend and advertising growth, right? And so that is what we typically see. We work with clients who spend upwards of $20,000 to $30,000 a month in ad spend. And I've learned across the journey of just basically how to combat some of these hurdles by working in the trenches and actually working with clients who are doing some of these larger budgets. And so I've learned a lot along the way, and I want to share with you what I've learned in these 5 different hurdles here. So let's jump right into things. So number 1, the first hurdle that you're going to experience, specifically with Facebook advertising, when you're spending about $5,000 a month in ad spend or more, is something called creative fatigue. Basically what creative fatigue is that once you start spending a decent amount, $5,000 or more in ad spend, I would say, you're going to start noticing that your cost per lead is rising. The reason for this is because people are just going to get tired of seeing the same ads over and over and over again. Think about it. If you're running Facebook ads, and let's say you have 8 or 10 different ads that you're running, and you're targeting a very specific location, like a city or territory, service area, people are going to start seeing those ads over and over and over and over again. And if you're not constantly replenishing those ad creatives or the visual element of your ads, then people are going to stop responding to it and they're going to become less effective. And this is what's known as something called ad fatigue or creative fatigue, right? And so what used to take you, maybe 2 to 4 weeks to start seeing if you're running the same Facebook ads, that is going to be accelerated the more that you spend on ad spend. And so now, instead of having to change over your ads every, 2 to 4 weeks, you're having to change over your ads at least every week or so. And so this is going to increase the overall management of the ads and just the amount of time that you're going to have to invest in that. And it's also going to increase the amount of content production that you actually do in your business, right? Because you can't just keep running the same ads or just do like small tweaks to them. You're going to have a content engine that's going to be able to keep up with the algorithm, right? Because the more that you're spending, Facebook's algorithm is going to consume your content faster and faster, and they're going to become less profitable if you don't. And so here's some tips that I would recommend. I kind of already alluded to. So number 1 is you're going to have to start replenishing your ad creatives at least every week or so. We typically find that if a client's spending $5,000 or more on ad spend, we're in there and we're creating new ads on a weekly basis to be able to combat the cost per lead rising up. Because basically, like I said, people are going to get tired of seeing those same ads over and over again. So you're going to have to create a new visual element or a new ad, or at least a new hook to create new stimulus in those ads, right? So every week you should be creating new ads at this point to be able to keep the cost per lead down. Obviously, this is going to require significant time investment on your end for creating new content and having some new images and videos to use in these ads, right? And so that means, lots of filming, lots of pictures, lots of different content to be able to test and experiment with. Something that we use in our agency to help our clients out, because it can be a lot of work on the content side, is using AI tools. So the two different AI tools that we use, number one is HeyGen, which basically allows you to clone your likeness or a team member's likeness. And essentially you can start creating more video content at scale. So you can use like avatars that are in that actual software, or you can clone your own likeness, and then you can start actually making new intros to your ads or just a whole new thing of content in general. So I find that HeyGen is very powerful for just creating new hooks and keeping up with the amount of content that you're going to need. And then we use another one called 11 Labs. And basically that has like very realistic voice synthesizer for doing ads as well. So you can clone your own voice, which is super cool, or you could actually just use some of the different voices that they have. But I really like using 11 Labs because now you can just do videos of like filming your work, and then you can actually use 11 Labs to then do a voiceover with that with captions and such. So those are the two AI tools that we use to be able to keep up with the amount of demand that you're going to need for content. Super, super helpful. I definitely recommend it. So that's number one. The second hurdle that you're going to start encountering is that you need to have proper budget distribution within your campaigns. So for example, I would definitely not recommend to take, a $5,000 a month budget and then put that into one campaign or put that into like one ad or something. Sometimes landscapers, what they'll do, especially on Facebook ads, is they'll have one campaign and maybe like one or two ads, and they're spending $5,000 a month on just like that one ad or that one campaign. That is one of the fastest ways to just start burning money, because you're so specifically focused on this one targeting strategy, this one ad, you're just going to burn it out very, very quickly. And so when you have a larger budget, it gives you the freedom to be able to basically address different prospects at different levels in the buying cycle, right? So in our agency, we use 3 different types of campaigns. And then within those campaigns, we have 8 to 10 ads running at any given time. So the first type of campaign that we'll do is a broad targeting campaign where we're just targeting the age, usually age 30 to 65, and then the location. So we'll do like your service area, and that's broad targeting. And then the second type of campaign that we're going to do is something I call data-driven targeting, where basically we are going to be targeting based off of custom audiences. Maybe, you give an email list or something like that. So we have some names and numbers that we can feed to Facebook's AI to start finding more people like that. Or we're doing our own interest-based campaigns where we're typing in like, has an interest in home renovations or landscaping, etc. So we're giving Facebook some data in those campaigns, and it's not so broad. That's something else that we like to test. And then lastly, the last type of campaign is going to be a remarketing campaign. So then every single person who's visiting our ads or clicking on them, engaging with them, or the website, we want to start showing ads to those people too. So this is how you can evenly distribute your budget across multiple different campaigns for a more diversified approach. And this is how you're going to definitely get much better results than if you were to just like spearhead it into one specific ad or something and put all of your eggs in one basket. All right, let's talk about number 3 here. The third hurdle, this one's very popular, is obviously when you're spending more on ads, you're going to get a lot more leads come through. And so if you are running ads before and maybe you were doing a lower budget, that's something that maybe you could handle as the owner to do the appointment setting and the sales aspect of it. But as you start getting a lot more leads in place, you are definitely going to need to have an appointment setter on your team. What is an appointment setter? An appointment setter is basically someone whose sole job is just to call up those leads or contact them and then qualify them and book them in for an in-person appointment. Ideally in person. If not, then it would be an over-the-phone appointment or something like that. But you're going to need someone who's dedicated to contacting those leads and bringing them through your sales process. The reason that this is so important is, like I said, as you're getting more leads coming through, it's going to be harder and harder for you as the owner to stay on top of it all. And especially if you want to really scale up, like add another location or hire some more salespeople, et cetera, you're going to need to start building out like a sales infrastructure to sustain this type of growth, right? So having an appointment setter, extremely valuable, because they're not only going to contact the leads fast, but they're also going to be following up with all the leads, right? So if someone doesn't answer when they first call, the appointment setter should be relentlessly following up with those leads, because you're paying for those leads. And if you want to actually start scaling the advertising so you can grow the business, you're going to need to take basically the most amount out of these opportunities that are coming your way. So you don't want to leave any stone unturned. You want this person to be calling them, texting them, emailing them. And that is going to be one of the best investments that you're going to make, because there's no point in spending all this money on advertising if then you don't have adequate follow-up or someone contacting them, right? Another thing too is having a really good CRM in place. I recommend Go High Level. This CRM is going to help you stay on track, keep up to date with everything, leave notes for specific customers. So your appointment setter or setters, your team, are going to be able to follow up on those leads adequately. You can also do stuff like mass email follow-up or mass texting, but you are going to need some kind of software to help you keep up with all this stuff. So I recommend Go High Level. Some people like Jobber, House Call Pro. Doesn't really matter what it is, but it needs to be a comprehensive software that's going to help you to keep up with all this growth. All right, now let's talk about number 4 is the estimating process. It's going to be really hard for you to scale if your estimating process takes forever to actually deliver someone an estimate. So I would say that a couple of the hurdles for landscapers to overcome is, number 1, just learning to estimate faster. So getting your processes to the point where ideally you can deliver a same-day estimate or maybe an estimate within at least 72 hours. The reason that's so important is because if you're taking like forever to deliver an estimate, 1 or 2 weeks type thing, the problem with that is that as you scale up and as you grow, you are most certainly going to start dropping balls and never delivering that estimate. And also, it's going to start hurting your sales process, because if you are delivering estimates within a week or longer, these prospects are going to be receiving estimates from other smaller companies who can deliver that estimate way faster. And so typically the first person who can deliver the estimate and really make a great first impression is most likely going to land the job. So you want to collapse the amount of time that it takes you to deliver that estimate. And what this is going to do is help you build systems around that. So then you can have an estimator maybe who comes in, gives a same day estimate or an estimate at least within 72 hours for more of those intricate jobs. But you need to have a fast estimating process, and it needs to be systemized. And as you're growing, you're definitely going to need to hire some estimators who understand construction, who are good at sales, and are actually going to ask for the order. So many contractors will deliver an estimate through email, or they'll just say, okay, I'll send you an email with the estimate later, and they don't even ever ask for the order. So you're going to need to definitely have a salesperson in there for your estimates, and they're going to need to ask for the order, right? This is going to definitely boost your sales. Just being in person is going to help. You'd be so surprised by how many jobs that landscapers will lose simply just because they email over the estimate and they never actually present it in person, and they're not there to answer any questions when showing the number, right? So very, very important. And the last and final hurdle that you are probably going to have to overcome is just the operational complexity of scaling your lead generation and sales, right? So as you're getting more leads coming through, you're getting more sales coming through, that is going to add more operational strain on your business, right? And so it's very, very important that you streamline your operations so you can actually handle more production, right? Because the last thing that you want is to get all of these sales and all this growth, but then your team can't actually fulfill on any of it, right? And so a couple things here that are going to help you along the way. Number one is just really niching on your services, and so that you can build out your systems, right? Because if you're niched and you have a specialization, then that is going to help you to become a lot more productive and efficient in your production, right? If you're running around and doing a whole bunch of other random jobs, then it's going to be very difficult for you to build a team and systems based around that to really scale up. But if you can do like one or two things really well, that's going to be a lot easier to scale up and build some serious systems behind, right? A really good book that I would recommend to just learn a little bit more about this stuff is a book called Traction by Gino Wickman. And basically, he's the founder of the Entrepreneur Operating System. And this is going to teach you how to just systemize your business in a way that can really start scaling up and handle, more leads, more sales, so that it doesn't all just count on you. So very, very important. Like I said, the last thing you want to do is have all this great marketing and sales going on, and then you just can't fulfill any of the work, so you have to stop it all. So guys, those are the 5 hurdles that I have witnessed when landscapers are trying to scale up their ad spend and really start to grow. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe, and I would appreciate if you leave a comment and just share, where you're at in your business, what was the most helpful tip that I gave in this video. And if you're watching this right now and you're looking for help to scale up your advertising, maybe you have a lawn care, landscaping, or outdoor living business, and you really just want to take things to another level. You're ready, you're at a place in your business now where you want more growth, more leads, and more sales. My link is in the description below. Book a call with our team. We'd be happy to see how we could support you. All right, guys, I'll see you on my next video.